Okay, perfect. So I'm recording now. So good afternoon and welcome to our third workshop for the ICCF Strategic Planning. And again, I'm your facilitator, Chantel. And last time we had a really great session as we went through the resources needed and everything for your organization. So today's agenda, we're going to be focused more on the organizational structure, HR policies and procedures. We're going to talk about the strategy organization linkage. We're going to look at human resource management, and we're going to look at the role of the human resources department. So I remember last time where we left off, we said we wanted to discuss at least the organizational chart and make sure all that is really tight. So the output of the project, as you know, will be workshops and a strategic plan that will include the following. So these are the ones that we've done already: strategic planning, focusing on funding sustainability; training on developing strategies to strengthen organization power to build strong mutual influence relationships within the organization with clientele and stakeholders. We did board of director training, focusing on responsibility and contribution to the organizational operational efficiency in areas of accountability and ethical policy decision-making process. And we did executive staff leadership training, focusing on program management, sustainability, and strategic plan. Today, we're going to be focusing on training on HR policies and procedures, and leadership training on the essential communication, collaboration, and management skills needed to empower and inspire innovation and teamwork. So last time we were working on board of director training, and we were doing the Myers-Briggs personality profile. Did everybody get a chance to finish that and go through it? I see Regina saying, "Oh my gosh." But you're on mute, so we can't hear you.
I'm so sorry. I know Jet got so many things to do. That's why
there's something that came the last time that we needed to kind of do before the next training. I think I did mine.
Okay. Do you have what it was?
What is it? I have forgotten that personality.
And Mr. Bernard, did you do yours as well?
Yeah, the president said he did his the last time. Wasn't it me?
Yeah,
it was
yes.
me, and because Janga wasn't here too, that's why. Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully you've done it. If you haven't done it, you should get it done and really share your personality profiles amongst each other so that everybody knows, you know, the personality of each other. Would have been good if we had all had it done so we could have discussed it now, but
yeah, I did my presented it last time.
Yeah, you did, and it was really good.
Presented it. I just
yes. Okay, so Regina, you make sure you get yours done and share it with us.
I will do it for sure.
Okay, great. So now we're going to focus on the organizational structure, HR policies, and procedures. So organizational structure refers to the formal relationship among the jobs in an organization. And an organizational chart is often used to depict that structure. So we're going to talk first about the strategy organization linkage. So the assessment of the strategy organization linkage is usually the last step in the Diamond E analysis, which we had been working through. So we're going to start the strategy organization analysis by identifying the organizational capabilities required to implement the strategy, as deduced directly by the strategy and indirectly from the gaps identified in the resource and preference analysis, which is what we did last time when we were going through to figure out what are all the resources that you need for each division and what were the gaps. So the next step is to check for consistency between the required capabilities and those evident in the organization. So our first exercise that we're going to work on right now is the organizational task chart. And the org task chart lists all the tasks that are related to what each department is in charge of, as well as who is in charge of that department. So for this exercise, under each heading, we're going to write down all of the tasks associated with your organization. And if you need to add more additional headings, such as HR or risk management, that's what we're going to do. So I've already started one, and obviously, and we're going to go through it. But I didn't start filling it out yet, so it's blank. So we're going to go do this together. Hold on. Okay. So the first column that we have is program creation. Under program creation, what are the tasks associated with program creation? So I'm going to say, I'll start, and the first one I'll say is research, right? We're going to have to do adequate research for the programs that we're going to create to make sure it's what our organization members need. What is something else that comes under program creation? And you can start giving ideas.
What about the purpose of that program?
So we're looking at the tasks, right? So
Yeah.
what are things that we actually have to do? So you're saying one of the things we have to do is figure out the purpose?
Yeah.
Okay. And how do we do that? Are we going to do surveys?
Yeah, service.
Survey deployment. Okay,
Yeah.
I like that one. Any other ideas?
On the length, can we say the length of the program?
Length of the program. So that, what is the task associated with that? So that's more like planning.
Yeah.
Yeah, planning the duration, yeah.
Program planning. Okay. I'm going to have another, I'm going to add one, and I'm going to say facilitation. Who is going to run the program?
Yeah.
Okay. What else?
What's about a budget?
Kind of
Mm.
finance, I
Big
think
budget.
finance
That's
there.
going to come under finance. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay,
This is just solely with the program.
okay.
Yeah.
So is that where you want to know your target groups that would be attending that program, or you will be administering that program too?
So no, it'll be more like, you know, what work goes into actually putting a program on? What is it that we need to do in order to execute a program efficiently and effectively? So let me see here. Let me think of some. What about the present? No, more like creating presentation materials.
Okay.
Right? Because you're
Yeah.
going to need, how are you putting on this program? Like kind of like how I have this presentation created for every workshop that we do. So when you're facilitating a program, you're going to need slides. So presentation material. Evaluation material. How are you going to know if the program's actually doing well?
Yeah.
After evaluate, yeah.
Evaluation material. Right? So let's think. We're putting on a program. Let's say it's the youth program. What do we need for that?
Youth program. We need a plan. Do we have that?
I think we have planning. Yes, we have planning.
Okay.
We have program. We have presentation materials. I think
Yeah.
we need program materials, because if it's something
program
that,
material.
yeah.
They fall on incentives or what?
No,
I don't think incentives. Do you want incentives for them to join the program?
Most nowadays they need one means of transportation, maybe get a bus ticket, or if you meeting
Okay.
in person is different, but when meeting in person, not on
Yeah.
Zoom or social media, I think somebody incentive might be transportation and refreshment or something like that.
Okay. We're going to need coordination, like a coordinator, to make sure that the facilitator and the program and the members are all, you know, understand how the timing of everything.
Yeah.
So coordination. Program coordination. see what else.
So
I think that's,
when we talk about location, or is not part of this?
well,
know
for the
where-
program creation, yeah, to know where it's taking
Yeah.
place. So location of the program. Because some might be online, some may be at your center, some may be at a third-party location, some may be, might be a sporting program. So definitely location.
Yeah,
Excuse me. Okay, I think that's really
it's
good.
transport. Yeah, it's transport. Is it on that program creation? Like,
If it's needed, yeah, you can put transportation.
yeah,
That could be part of the program.
yeah.
Okay. And if there's anything else we think of as we go forward, we can always come back and add it.
Okay.
So let's go to administration now. What are some of the tasks associated with administration? And I'm sure we should get a lot of things listed here.
Yeah. We have a leadership in place,
So for administration,
administration, yeah, to head a program.
well, no, not programs. This is something separate. So
Oh,
administration
this
is
is
all the
different from the
stuff. Yeah,
program. Oh, okay.
this is
I thought it
everything
was-
that
Well, then
happens in
we'll
the
need a-
business.
Oh,
Like-
organization.
Projectors and things.
Like
Okay.
Flash.
emails,
Yeah.
right? Responding to emails is a task.
Okay.
Who's going to be responsible for that, right? So this is where we're trying
Yeah.
to think of all the tasks that need to be done. And then we're going to put who's responsible. So in administration, what else do you need? Someone to answer phones,
Yeah.
right? We're thinking very simple. Think if you're running a business and you have all this administration to do, what are some of the tasks?
Maybe if you want someone to answer the email, then you need someone who will send the email out, maybe like a secretary.
So you need support staff.
Yeah.
Support staff, yeah.
So like an assistant, support staff, okay?
Then you won't, I think, is it here we need materials like stationaries and what have you, or it's not here?
Well, so that's not a task. That's more of resource, like materials that you need. But
Okay.
more of a task is going to be like scheduling appointments.
Okay.
Right? Scheduling appointments, scheduling the programs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reporting,
Yeah.
right? Because you're going to have some sort of metrics. How are the programs doing? Who's attending? And the frequency?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. That's administration. Like think you're going to a doctor's office and they have somebody sitting there at the front desk. They're responsible for administration. What are all the things that they're doing? Filing.
Yeah.
Yeah, filing.
Yeah.
Recording.
Recording or record
Yeah.
keeping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as you said, making appointments and, taking in calls.
We have day-to-day communications. We have what about contract management? What if you have contracts with different organizations? Who's managing that?
Mm-hmm.
Contract management. Even the transportation schedule, because if you guys
Yeah,
have transportation,
Yeah,
where's the van going to be at what time?
yeah.
So your transportation schedule. So we have responding to emails, answering phones, support staff, right? It's something that we need for admin is a task, or managing support staff because you might have more than one.
Yeah.
Scheduling appointments, scheduling programs, reporting, filing, record keeping. contract management, transportation schedule.
Yeah.
Anything else we can think of?
I think we are good.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I'm put on my taking cap. I can't get
You know, when you come on with me, we're going to be doing a
Yeah.
lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, another one we didn't say, website maintenance.
Oh,
That's
okay.
administration stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
And another thing, I don't know if it will be necessary, like doing a flyer. Is that?
That's where we're going to get into marketing. That's
Okay.
next.
Okay.
So I'll put that there. That's the first
Okay.
one for marketing. Flyer
Okay.
creation. Okay, we can move on to the next one, marketing. What are some things we need for marketing?
Marketing.
Advertisement would be good.
Advertisement.
Yeah, so that's a task.
Yeah, advertisement and advertisement like word of mouth.
Yeah, so word of mouth.
Yeah.
Word of mouth strategy.
Yeah. And social media.
Social media management. Yep.
Yeah. Emailing people.
So email
That's the same thing.
campaigns.
Yeah.
That's a campaign.
Yeah.
We are breaking the social media down, or is it one?
No, we put social media management, right?
Oh, okay.
And then we put email campaign.
Okay.
So we can break it down even further with regards to social. So social media management, we need somebody to post.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Post content. We need somebody who's going to create content, because those are all the different tasks associated with social media. Create content, post content, social media management, flyer creation, advertisements.
Yeah.
Sounds like we might have hit most of them.
Yeah, most of them.
We could put website updating here too. What about blogs? Somebody going to write blogs or?
Yeah.
So I'll put create content / blogs, because it's kind of similar. One might be more visual in nature, other one with words, but similar. Okay.
No. Okay. So is billboard part of this?
Is what, sorry?
Billboard.
Billboards?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have access to getting billboards?
It's in some instances. Temporarily like a banner.
Okay.
So they have program, you put a banner up.
Yeah.
You can remove after the program, or.
And this is like on your website or in like actual banners physical, at the center? Oh, okay.
Yeah, physical. Yeah.
Billboards or banners at location. That's definitely marketing material. Flyer creation.
What about advertisement? Is it part of it?
Yeah, we have advertisements here. That was the second one. I think Bernard said that.
Okay.
I'm thinking, what about like swag, keychains, t-shirts, like those kind of things as part of marketing to get the word out about the organization. I don't know if you have that.
Yeah, we print t-shirt most of the time.
So merchandise.
Yeah. So
branded merchandise, I should put.
Branded merchandise.
So somebody has to be in charge of that. So we're trying to figure out all the tasks necessary. So when we're looking to get people to do these jobs, we want to know what are the jobs, right, that we need done. So by listing all of this, it lets us know what needs to happen. And then we can figure out who's gonna manage that. So I think we have pretty much a lot of them for marketing already. Anything else we can think of? Are we gonna do any PR? Like who's gonna be in charge of getting the word out there? Maybe
Yeah,
local
public relations,
newspapers and stuff like that. So public relations.
Yeah.
That's
Like
part
what,
of marketing.
television? So which public
Yeah,
relations? Say television, radio?
television, radio, podcasts, printed media. So I'll put all of that. Television, radio, podcasts, printed media, such as newspapers. I'll just put newspapers. And it can be local newspapers as well, community newspapers. Those are really easy to get into.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get under finance. I heard somebody say budget, so I'll put that one first. Budgeting. What are the other tasks under finance? If you have staff, we're gonna have payroll.
Payroll,
Yeah.
Mhm. What else?
we got
Petty
staff.
cash.
Oh. No, that administration with staff.
Sorry, say that again.
No,
Do
I
we
was
need
saying
petty
staff.
cash?
Petty cash,
If I not
Yeah.
budgeting,
that's under budgeting.
It's on the
Oh,
budget.
okay.
yeah.
We're gonna think of payroll. Is there any invoicing that might be happening?
Invoicing,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
We need,
Receipts.
grant writer,
yeah,
and grant administration.
yeah.
So somebody has to manage that grant and make sure everything's being spent accordingly to the grants.
And maybe program management, like not the other program creation, though I'm talking about like activities to bring money into the organization.
The
So
fundraising,
revenue,
eh?
fundraising, okay.
Yeah, fundraising, yeah.
Fundraising initiatives, okay.
Yeah.
Somebody definitely has to be on top of that. What else? What other tasks are associated? Financial statement creation, so a reviewing of financial statements. Review,
Yeah.
or really financial statement creation. Creating a budget is one thing, but making sure you have your income statement, cash flow statements, balance sheets, that's going to be a job. Maybe it's a job you outsource, but it's a job nonetheless. Vendor payments.
Yeah.
And management. Okay. Finance. Financial system management, because what financial system are you going to use? Is it going to be QuickBooks? Is it going to be, system management? What financial management system do you use now?
It's just our checking system. I will do it now for now.
Okay, so you don't have like an actual system in place.
No.
Okay. So that's going to need to be implemented and managed. Perfect. Anything else we could think of? Okay, if not, we can move on. And if we think of anything, we just come back. So now we're under project management. And this is overseeing all of the projects that the organization may have going on. And that could be whether it's the programs or other initiatives that are happening. What are some tasks associated with project management? So I could put one, creating project plans. This one might not have so many under it. Managing the project management system.
Yeah. Are we still on a project management, right?
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We can say communicating with the board.
Yeah.
What other things under project management?
Can we put a board of directors?
Well, that's not a task. That's
Oh,
just a
okay.
group.
It's a
So what
task,
is,
okay.
yeah, what is the task associated with it?
Oh, okay.
What's about submitting progress report?
Yes,
Update or something.
updating progress reports. And updating and submitting progress reports. Reporting is a big part of a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Project management. So we have creating project plans, managing a project management system, communicating with the board, updating and submitting progress reports.
I don't think we have too many on that.
Probably not. You were saying something, Bernard?
I'm talking about overall review of project implementation. So I don't know why I fall in that group.
Yeah, it does
like
actually. Review of all, say that again, project management, project implementation.
Yeah, the overall review of project implementation.
Yeah, overall review. That's a good one. Okay. I think we're good there. There shouldn't be too many because project management is just really an overarching looking over everything, making sure everything's moving smoothly. Okay, so now we're going to go to human resources. That's one that I added because that's what we're talking about today. So when we're thinking of human resources, we're thinking of now everything that falls under that category. So it's going to be
staffing.
Yeah. Staffing, creating job specifications, right? Posting them. Posting vacancies. We have recruitment and selection because that is a lot. I was doing that just the past couple of weeks and it takes a lot of time. Recruitment and selection. What else is under human resources? You think about human resources in your own jobs. What do they do?
Are they the one that kind of schedule you? Is that the office scheduling department?
I don't think they really run scheduling of you, but they do more of the hiring, the firing, the organizational policies. Okay. So we'll put that, create organizational policies. Recruitment and selection, create organizational policies. Firing, I'll put that because they do that. They probably do time sheets.
Are they the one that implement those policies?
Yeah,
or it's another group?
No, they create them and then they'll implement them, and then it's up to the managers to make sure everybody follows them.
Okay.
I put timesheet management.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be the ones who know how much time you take off. What else? What does human resources do in most organizations?
They do with holidays, vacation.
Okay, vacation.
Yeah, employment.
Management. Yeah, we have that under recruitment and selection. That's recruiting new people and selecting them for the new jobs. Creating job specifications. So if there's a vacancy, they create that.
Yeah, and the policy of.
Yeah, we have that. Create organizational policies. We have firing. or I should put more termination of staff.
Mhm.
Okay.
What's about promotion?
Yeah, promotion of staff.
Are
Absolutely.
they the one responsible for workshops and stuff?
No,
the
that will be
company?
that'll be program creation.
Oh,
Or are you talking about the overall like development?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, development, yes. Employee development
Yeah.
workshops. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Any others? That's pretty good though. That's a pretty good
Yeah.
list. So
Okay.
we have organizational tasks. So we have under your program creation, your administration, marketing, finance, project management, human resources, and we filled in all of them. For human resources, we have staffing, creating job specifications, posting job vacancies, recruitment and selection, create organizational policies, termination of staff, timesheet management, vacation management, promotion of staff, and employee development workshops. Yeah, I think that's good.
Yeah,
Anything else? Anybody want to add, or we're good?
we're good. I think we're good for now.
Okay,
Uh,
perfect. All right. So now we're going to talk about the organizational chart. So an organizational chart is a diagram that shows the structure of an organization and the relationships between the different people, departments, or jobs within that organization. So we were just talking about the different jobs that need to be done under every department. Organizational charts are essential to every business, improving internal structures and aiding communication. They can help improve collaboration and communication across teams and the wider business. They can improve information flow and the responsiveness of teams. They can define clear business structures, hierarchies, roles, and responsibilities, which is exactly what we want to focus on. And it can help assimilate new staff into the workplace. So designing an organization involves choosing the right structure that is appropriate given the company's strategic goals. And the two common types of organizational structures are, first one is bureaucratic. In a bureaucratic organization, there's usually a top-down approach to management. There are many levels and hierarchical communication channels and career paths. Jobs tend to be more highly specialized with narrowly defined job descriptions. And the focus is more on independent performance. So this is like the typical manufacturing organization of sorts. So you're gonna have the president, then you're gonna have vice presidents, then you're gonna have directors, then you're gonna have managers, and then you have all the staff. So that's the structure of that organization. So you know by looking at it, who's in charge, who reports to who, and so everybody in the organization is clear as to where they fall. The next one is more of a flat organization. And in flatter organizations, managers have increased spans of control. The number of employees and increased spans of control mean the number of employees reporting to them, and thus less time to manage each one. Therefore, employees' jobs involve more responsibility. And in organizations using self-managed work teams, employees' jobs change daily. So management intentionally avoids having employees view their jobs as a specific narrow set of responsibilities. So if you want people to be able to handle multiple departments, then you're going to more so have them cross-trained and not just say you work in program creation, so you can't work in administration. Maybe that doesn't work in your organization. Maybe who's working in administration better have some knowledge in program management and marketing to help, because you need them to fulfill more of the roles. So this is like a typical research and development organization. So you have the owner, it's more like a small business. Then you have managers, and then you have associates. And it's flatter, but as you see, there's less departments, less people to report to, as there's not so many levels, and it seems to be more controlled. So that's a flat organization. So building the organizational chart. So in the organizational task chart exercise we just completed, right? The board of directors came up with the 6 primary organizational areas and departments. So we did program creation, administration, marketing, finance, project management, human resources. The next step is we're going to list who is in charge of or responsible for each organizational area or department. And this can be represented in an organizational chart. And how the chart is organized will depend on the organizational structure of the company and the relationships between the people and the departments. So for this exercise now, we're going to create an organizational chart. So I started one here. So let me just stop sharing my screen here. And I'm going to share the organizational chart with you. All right, can everybody see this?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So this doesn't have any names on it yet. It's just your organizational chart. Let me put the title here. This is the LIBCAM organizational chart. And so now we're going to start filling in the hierarchy and who's in charge of what. So this is the top, as we're just looking at the organizational chart. Who is at the top of this organization? And what is their title?
The president,
The
Bernard,
president.
the president.
So Bernard, is that you?
Yeah.
Okay. President. Brilliant. So you're at the top. So now, who comes under you? And I could add more.
Vice president.
So the vice president?
Vice president.
Vice president, yeah.
Okay.
Younger.
What, spell the name?
Jan.
Jangar?
Yeah.
Jangar. Last name? Or it's not really necessary.
Bon, B-O-H-N.
B-O-H-N?
Yeah.
Okay, and this is the vice president. Okay, and we only have one vice president, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just one.
Okay, so this is not necessary, the next one.
Yeah,
Okay.
some people have 2.
Yeah, so we could reconfigure the structure after. So
Okay.
who reports to Jangar? What are the other levels?
After vice president, we have the secretary. General
Secretary,
secretary. The general secretary, yeah.
general secretary. Okay. And then who else?
What about the treasurer?
Treasurer. Okay.
Followed by the financial secretary.
Financial secretary.
Financial secretary.
That's the main
Okay.
hierarchy there. That's the main hierarchy.
So that's it. So it's going to be
Yeah.
Bernard, then Jangar, then the general secretary, treasurer, financial secretary.
Yeah.
I'll create lines that go across later and add it.
Okay.
Okay. So now, what is the general secretary?
Excuse
Yeah.
me, ask a question.
Sure.
Is isn't the financial secretary supposed to come by the general secretary because she reports to the treasurer? She makes report to the treasurer. Or she's supposed to be, instead of the treasurer, I thought it's supposed to be the financial secretary. And then the treasurer should be next.
So the treasurer reports to the financial secretary?
No, the financial secretary is supposed to make her report to the treasurer.
But when the
Okay.
treasurer
That's
is
a
there
financial
before,
paper.
you know, when the treasurer come after the secretary general.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on, I'll delete that here. So put the treasurer here, so I know who is reporting to who. Treasurer, and then you're saying the financial secretary
Yeah,
reports to the treasurer.
yeah.
Okay, and those are all the roles?
Yeah.
The
The
main roles?
chaplain can
for-
get there. The chaplain can be there.
For now, these are elected official. Person
Oh,
that serve in the capacity. After
Okay.
those, after that group, technically is followed by the board of directors.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
before
then
you have
here
people-
is the
yeah.
board. Everybody else below would be board members.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody else will come to the board before we come to the committee's head, the chairman for committees.
Okay, so then we're gonna get board members and committee members.
Yeah, after the board of directors, then the committees member fall under that category. These are the head of standing committee.
Okay. Directors. Board of directors. Then you're saying the committee is under that.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So we have the committee here.
Yeah, standing committee.
Okay,
They will have the chaplain and the parliamentarian.
and they're all along the committee or below?
No, the below committee. The below
Okay.
because these are standing, that we have 3 standing committees. So they are in the constitution have standing committee. So
Okay, so we're
Yeah,
gonna have
yeah.
to make this smaller perhaps.
yeah.
And all right, I'll try to put something that goes under. If I can move everybody up, that'll be great. Or create another one. Let me just see. So we're gonna add another slide. So your organization seems to be pretty sparse. Not sparse, it seems to be pretty big, right? It's like expanding. I'll use this one here. So we have like the committee,
Yeah, standing committee.
standing committee,
Yeah, standing committee. Yeah. We have
And then
3
you-
standing committee.
and they say under the committee comes the chaplain
The chaplain and the parliamentarian.
and the parliamentarian.
Yeah.
And you know what other roles are? Like everybody's role is,
Yeah.
Okay.
For the committee, the three committee will have the program and fundraising committee. Those are the standing committee, the program and fundraising committee.
mhm.
Yeah. They will have the social and sport committee. They will have the conflict resolution committee.
Just moving everything around. So we have committees here. So social committee, you said?
Social and sports.
Social and sport committee.
Yeah.
And what was the first committee that we had here?
Program and fundraising.
Fundraising committee. Okay, social and sport committee. All right. Then we get here, we have the standing committee, and then we have the chaplain and the parliamentarian.
Yeah.
And then we have another level. So this is just going to be actual staff that executes the jobs.
Yeah, these are permanent people, you know. But we'll have programs and we'll organize subcommittees. We're having program, but for this, these are the committee that are standing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But these are they are official.
Okay, so that's like the board structure, but now we have to have a place for the staff because you see that we came up with all those tasks that need to be done.
Yeah.
Who's going to be doing those tasks?
Yeah, that way the other subcommittee come in.
Okay,
Yeah.
so these are the subcommittees.
Yeah, we'll have other subcommittee. Like our country, we don't have membership, so we have a committee that was created.
Okay, subcommittees.
Yeah.
And everyone here is in charge of the organizational task execution.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to assign them departments, right?
Yeah, we'll have another committee.
So we're gonna be like, this might be a subcommittees, but this one might be for program
Yeah.
creation.
Yeah. we have
Okay, it's another subcommittee, but this one might be for administration.
yeah, that's the membership, outreach, and community relations.
Outreach.
And
what
community relations,
Community
membership, outreach,
relations.
and community relations. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So far, the only committee that though we amend our constitution, it will be part of the standing committee. But for now, it's
what is part of
subcommittee.
the standing committee?
After we have amended our constitution,
Yeah.
the membership, outreach, and the community relation committee will form part of the standing committees.
Okay.
That will be later, yeah. But for now, it is not part of the standing committees.
No. So what about the marketing aspects? Somebody's gonna have to be in charge of that because that was some of the tasks
Yeah,
that we discussed.
what happened is we're having programs, we organize subcommittees for specific programs. After the program committee they are dissolved, like an alcohol committee. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So who's gonna be in charge of the marketing? You see the things we talked about, the finance department. Well, I guess administration, outreach, and community relations would be more of the marketing aspect. And you're saying all the finance is going to be taken care of by like the treasurer and the financial secretary, so you won't need staff for that? Who's going to do the day-to-day operations of that?
Yeah, they will do the day-to-day operation of that.
Okay.
If they're heavy load, they will organize or will find another or ad hoc committee to work along with them.
Okay, what about HR?
For HR, I think it kind of within the purview of the president office. For now.
So Bernard, president, and you're going to be responsible for HR.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's the whole point here, is to figure out all these tasks that we listed, who's going to be responsible for all these things, because we want to know who we're assigning to what. Okay. What are some of the other tasks that we came up with? Project management. Who's going to be in charge of the project management? Is that a subcommittee that you're going to have oversee that?
Mr. President?
I think he muted. I think he's something.
Yeah, he's
something.
muted.
Oh yeah, that might be a guy they're talking. Yeah. We it's an outsource for now. Yeah, we have
outsource project management.
Yeah, we have Ryan doing that for us now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we'll take over that in the future when we are able to do that.
So in the future, you're going to have somebody oversee project management. Is that going to be a subcommittee that's going to oversee that?
Yeah.
That'll be a subcommittee, yes.
Subcommittee is going to be in charge of project management, because we're not just thinking of what we have now, we're thinking of what you're trying to create.
In the future. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and any other departments? Marketing, admin, program creation. So I think we have all of the departments pretty much covered. I'll just make this look a little bit tidier for you. And we have one more subcommittee here for whatever the need comes up. Let's see how we put these two together somehow. Okay, perfect. All right, so we'll work that out. So this is what your organizational chart kind of looks like at this moment. So you have your president, then you have your vice president, which is directly under you. Then we're going to have the general secretary and the treasurer. We're pretty much on the same level. Then we have the board of directors and the financial secretary that's underneath the general secretary and the treasurers. Then we have program and fundraising committees, social and sport committees, and the standing committee. Under the standing committee, we have chaplain and parliamentarian. And then under that, we have like the sub-program committees, which is probably really going to go under the program and fundraising committees, or all these committees are going to be overseen by chaplain, parliamentarian, board of directors, financial secretary. and everybody just reports up. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, concerning the chart here. Will it not be necessary for the secretary to come opposite here? Or is not opposite here, like on the side?
You're saying the financial secretary?
The general secretary.
General
Oh.
secretary.
Because for him to be over here.
Over here
Okay.
beside the vice president?
Yeah, because he takes directive from the president and the vice president.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and then we push this one, maybe this one, you will end up taking it from here. What's the
Okay.
financial secretary?
It's underneath the
Financial
treasurer,
secretary is-
Oh, okay, okay.
which is what was said.
Oh,
Okay.
so this one is blank.
Yeah, it's blank, but we could fill it with something, or I'll put the treasurer underneath the both of them. And
Yeah, for the financial,
the financial secretary reports to the treasurer is what you said. This is why that link is here. And the treasurer will report to the general secretary or the vice president. I could put a line to
okay.
both of them.
Okay,
And those ones report to Bernard. Everybody
Yeah.
reports to Bernard in essence, but
okay,
right. And then we have the board of directors, the financial secretary, they're on one level. And then we start getting into the committees.
okay.
Am I right?
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
Okay. Move this up a bit. I'll make it look nicer. It was just hard to
Okay,
do it
Okay.
as we were talking,
okay,
but once you see it in there, it'll be much better placed.
yeah, okay.
Okay. And then we have the standing committee, because it couldn't all fit on one sheet. I'll get one of my designers
Yeah.
to make it fit
Okay.
proper.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So I think that's pretty good.
Yes, looks good.
Okay. And it gives you a little bit more clarity under, now that we listed all of the tasks that need to be done, who's going to be responsible for each task. So as your organization is growing, you know how to assign every department and who's going to be in charge of what. So now we don't have anybody faltering and we're not really, trying to figure out what's going on. We know that you're in charge of this. These are all the tasks that need to be done in marketing. These are all the tasks that need to be done in this. This is what you're responsible for. And that's how it runs. It'll be a lot smoother. All right, back to the presentation. Okay. So now we're going to get into the human resources management part. And human resources management involves formulating and implementing HR systems, such as recruitment, performance, appraisal, and compensation, that are aligned with the organization's strategy to ensure that the workforce has the competencies and behaviors required to achieve the organization's strategic objectives. So some objectives of human resource management include assisting the organization in obtaining the right number and types of employees to fulfill its strategic and operational goals, helping to create a climate in which employees are encouraged to develop and utilize their skills to the fullest, helping to maintain performance standards and increase productivity through effective job design, providing adequate orientation, training and development, providing performance-related feedback, and ensuring effective two-way communication, helping to establish and maintain a harmonious employer-employee relationship, and helping to create and maintain a safe and healthy work environment. It also includes developing programs to meet the economic, psychological, and social needs of your employees, helping the organization to retain productive employees, and ensuring that the organization is in compliance with provincial and territorial and federal laws affecting the workplace, such as human rights, employment equity, occupational health and safety, employment standards, and labor relations legislation. So what is the role of the Human Resources Department exactly? And this is something we were just trying to figure out when we were looking at the tasks. So One of them is formulating policies and procedures. A policy is a predetermined guide to thinking established to provide direction in decision-making. So policies are extremely important because they define the organization's position on given issues, communicate management's expectations of the employees, articulate acceptable and unacceptable behavior. It ensures consistency in treatment of employees and continuity and predictability in the course of action. And it serves as standards against which performance can be measured. So some types of organizational policies are code of conduct policies, promote from within policies, international hiring policies, vacation policies, compensation policies, privacy policies, health and safety policies, employment status policies, and information technology acceptable use policies. What are some policies you currently have in place at LIBCAM?
Code of conduct.
Okay.
Yeah, basically we have the code of conduct, which these are all enshrined within the Constitution.
Okay.
Yeah, and basically the function of each official and executive in the organization, which is enshrined in the Constitution. So it varies from title to title. Yeah, everybody have that specific role to play.
So you currently have code of conduct.
Yeah.
And repeat again, what are the other ones?
The code of conduct.
Yeah. What are all the policies that you have in place?
Oh, that's it. The function of each official.
Function of each official. Okay.
Yeah, based on the title. For benefit, we don't have it yet in place. It's something that is done, or as time goes by, like bereavement and all that thing, they happen. So
okay, so
we don't
really
have that
you have two of the policies you see listed there in place: code of conduct and the function of each official based on their title.
Yeah.
Okay, we see that's more of the that's for your board members or your executive leadership team, right?
It also covers the membership. The code of conduct to cover the membership. What should be done as a member, and how you become a member. It all fall in that membership.
Okay.
Yeah. Who is a member?
Okay. Okay, that's good. So we have that in place. So for this last exercise, we're going to work on creating some policies. So let me go back. There's a site that I found that actually had some great ones. I'm going to share it with you. Give me 1 second. I had it up and I don't know where it went. Just give me a minute. Okay. So I'm going to share this with you. And this is from the YMCA. They had a really good human resource employee handbook. Because when we're thinking of creating policies, we're not just thinking of the executive leadership team. You want to hire staff. And what applies to your executive leadership team, you're going to have different policies for your staff. So this was good because YMCA is kind of like an organization that caters to children, youth, seniors, families, and communities, which is kind of like what your organization does. So I figured this will be a good template for guidance.
Yeah.
And let's go through some of the policies that they have here. HR policies and procedures. These are revised. This one is as of March 23rd, 2021. So just last year. So they have who they are, right? Their mission, vision, values, code of conduct, confidentiality and non-disclosure, conflict of interest, security and external practices. Then they have fair employment practices. So they listed the Human Rights Code, employment equity, accessibility for Ontarians with disabilities. So that's very important for a lot of organizations, especially not-for-profit, that they're compliant for people with disabilities. They have pay equity, immigration law compliance. So that's when we're talking about immigration hiring policies. Then they have recruitment and selection. So employment of family members and relatives, employment applications, employment agreements, terms and conditions of employment, and orientation. Then they have occupational and employment status. So your pay classification and pay type. So people, if they're working for you, staff members, they might want to know information about that, how you hire, like you said, how you promote, what's the pay classification, because of these organizations, they may have your pay grade 1, pay grade 2, pay grade 3, as in other organizations. And what does that even mean? Then we get to employment. What are the employee's duties? Employee files and records, employment references. What is a probationary period? Because that's always good to have. Even in my organization, we give our team members 3 months for us to try them and them to try us to see, how things are working out before we really commit to each other. So what is your probationary period? What are hours of work? What hours do you expect your staff to be working? Overtime, what is your policy around that? Reporting pay. For our team members, a lot of them are independent contractors. So we have a program that we implemented that we use that they have to download their hours for them to get paid. What is your staff going to do? And these are things you got to think about. Eating period, rest period. Granted, if they're working virtually, I'm sure they're going to eat whenever they're hungry. Hours free from work. So I know right now in Ontario, they implemented like employers can't contact you after work hours because some people are working 24 hours. Their boss will call them 2 a.m. for stuff. So what are your hours free from work? And statutory holidays. Not every organization recognizes statutory holidays. Like Monday is a holiday for banks and government institutions, but stores are open, restaurants are open. So what is your holiday schedule? Compensation and performance reviews. That's another HR policy. Pay dates. How are you going to pay them? Is it going to be direct deposit, e-transfer? Are they going to come pick up a check? Are you doing any payroll deductions? Who's doing salary administration? What's performance management look like? Then we have here progressive discipline. What does that look like? How many chances do you give somebody? What is that? What does it look like if they do something that's against policy? Do you write them up? How many letters do they get before they're terminated? Those kind of policies we have to think about. Then there's group benefits and retirement plans. I mean, if your organization does that, it's a smaller organization, so it might not have that now. Employee development, which I think somebody had mentioned, right? What are some training policies? So your eligibility, educational assistance, association training programs, certification and recertification, and professional designation and dues. So maybe for your staff members, you give them $500 towards learning something every year, which sometimes we do for our team members. We will pay for them to go to training, or we'll pay for them to take an online course, or we'll pay for them to do stuff to level up their skills. What are some things that you're going to do around that for your staff? And this is not the executive leadership team. We're thinking about staff members that you hire. Departure. What is your policy around resignation, retirement, termination, and transactions to follow termination? So once you're fired or terminated, do you get 2 weeks pay? Do you get, what does the severance look like? Or do you just stop getting paid the day you stop working? Depends on your organization, right? And the size of it. Leaves policy, vacation plans. How many vacation days do you get? And are they paid vacation days or unpaid vacation days? Sick leave, family responsibility, and personal emergency leave. What does that look like for your organization? Sick leave, a lot of companies this past couple of years had to totally revamp their sick leave policies because of COVID. And, I remember employers were like, you can't take more than 5 sick days. But then this this virus makes you stay home for 14 days. So what happens with the other 9 days? You know what I mean? Like, am I getting paid for it? What happens? So, you know, what does that look like? Family responsibility leave, illness, injury, or medical emergency, personal illness leave, early and safe return to work or modified work, and bereavement leave, which is what you recently mentioned, right, Bernard?
Yeah.
What happens if somebody passes? You know, sometimes they only give you like 3 days off, depending on the organization. Is 3 days really enough time for you to grieve? Probably not. So what does that look like? Statutory leave of absence standards, right? Covered by the Employment Standards Act. So time off to vote, most organizations, you have to give that. You have to give them time off for jury duty. You legally have to give them pregnancy leave, parental leave, interaction with other Employment Standards Act leaves, family caregiver leave, family medical leaves, critical illness leave, domestic or sexual violence leave, child death leave, crime-related child disappearance leave. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Maybe they had a situation that why it came in there, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's the YMCA and they're dealing with people's children. And what if somebody disappears, or what if somebody stole somebody's kid? Then they have
camping and things. So
yeah, so therefore that's something they definitely had to think of, which I would not have thought of. It didn't even cross my mind. Organ donor leave, like, wow, they're really like, this gets really detailed. And that's why I pulled it out, because, you know, there are certain things from this that you can utilize, but not everything will really apply to you. But they really thought this out. Reservist leave, religious holidays even. And then we have employee relations policies. So cell phone policy, depending on, you know, the level of security in your organization. I know some banks and some financial institutions don't like staff members to have their cell phone on their desk because you could be taking pictures of people's personal financial information. And that's not safe. So what is your cell phone policy? What is your expense reporting? Dress code policy and working from home policies, because that's something employers never thought about until the past 2 years either. There was no working from home policy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So now we have these policies coming in, and dress code policy. This is so funny. I remember I was working for the municipal government here in Ontario, and one of the students came in to work, and I was working in the court services. So it's court. It's very, you know, buttoned up and whatever. And one of the students came in booty shorts and a tank top. Like, you know, she obviously didn't read the dress code policy. Granted, I never saw her again after that day, but I guess she got the message, right? Yeah. So what is the policy that you expect from people when they're working in your organization when it comes to dress code? Workplace harassment or sexual harassment, right? These are policies that definitely got to put in place. How do you deal with that? What is the expectation? Definition of workplace harassment, reporting workplace harassment, and investigation. We don't think of these things, but when they happen, it's like, oh my gosh, we should have had a policy in place to deal with it. But if you have something written up, or, you know, you could follow a guide like this, you can help get some guidance onto what it is that you want to create. Yeah. Workplace violence policy statements, definition of workplace violence program and report and investigation, and conduct standards, substance abuse policy. All right, with now that marijuana is legalized, every organization wants their employees coming to work high. What is your policy around that, right? Because people go out and they smoke their cigarette at lunch, but not necessarily do you want them going out and smoking marijuana at lunch, because it could affect the way that they perform when they come back to work. So these are things we never had to think about before, but now with all these changes and all these laws, you have to think about these policies. Support for employees with substance abuse issues and employees' right to accommodations. And then conflict resolution. I remember I asked, how do you resolve conflicts? But you talked about how we resolve conflicts among the executive leadership team, but how would you resolve conflicts amongst your staff? Does that have to go all the way up to the executive leadership team, or is that something that's dealt with right at the staff level, that you have one of the subcommittees put, you know, your policies are in place and that's what they deal with? And then we have privacy policies. So now with all this technology and all this information that we have on people, what are the privacy protection procedures that we're going to have in place? And those are things, are we going to have virus software, antiviral software, anti-spam software? Are we going to have password protected laptops or computers? Are we going to
Mhm.
have other, programs that we have where you need a password or two-step authentication before you can be able to use it? Is only one person going to have access to it? Even the financial information of the organization too, not just of the members. And remember, some of your membership, you might have their address and those kind of things. All of that has to be protected. And what's your policy around that? And health and safety, right? Health and safety principles, protocols, workplace emergency response, and supervision of children. Because especially if you have a youth center and you're putting in sports programs for the youth, right? Who's going to supervise them? Did they go through the criminal background check? Is that part of your policy that you have everybody do? Because a lot of not-for-profit organizations make sure everybody goes through that. If you're going to be working with kids, and what are the policies in place for that? Child protection, general statements, communications. So what is your policy around communications? Employee communication, voicemail, press releases, external communications and complaints, digital engagement. It's a lot. It really is a lot. And then we have information technology acceptable use policy. So every year when my son goes to school, they send home this form that we have to read with him together on the acceptable use of computers within school, because these kids now, they're savvy. They'd be downloading all kinds of things and going on all kinds of sites that they're not supposed to go on. And so, what is the policy? Because people get caught at work going through, inappropriate websites at work. And some of them have viruses that could totally wipe out your whole system. So what is your acceptable use policy at work? What's the purpose? What's the scope of the policy? Who's the authorized use? Information management, email and internet policy, privacy and monitoring, because as an organization, you can have the right to put tracking on the computers that are used within your organization. But as long as you let everybody know that's what's happening. Password policies, no sharing of passwords between colleagues, or whoever uses this terminal, you're responsible for the password of this terminal and you're not supposed to share it with whoever is using those terminals, that kind of stuff, and general security. And whistleblower policies, not something we ever really thought of until recently, but a lot of things are coming out of the woodworks where things are happening within organizations and people are free to speak up because of repercussions. So they end up going and being prolonged. So what is the policy you'll have in place in case somebody does see something going on in the organization that they want to report and they're not penalized for that? Charities and attendance at political events. What is your policy around that? And any notes or records of revisions. So this has some really, really great policies. And for our last half an hour, I want us to work on, we could pick one or two policies and really delve deep in it. And I like how they have here the responsibility of the board of directors, responsibility of the chief executive officers. And I'm going to share this link with all of you as well. So therefore, when you're coming up with the rest of your policies for your organization, you can refer to this to kind of see what it is that they put in place and what really works for you and what doesn't work for you when you're creating your own policies. You could do that, or you could hire or you can outsource to an HR company to do that for you as well. Okay, so let's think of some policies that we want to work on. You have your conflict of interest already, you said. Human rights code, that's really law.
Not conflict of interest, conflict resolution.
You want to work on conflict resolution?
No, I was talking about conflict of interest.
No,
so you already have.
You said you had your code of conduct already.
Okay, I had conflict of interest. Okay.
Sorry, maybe I did say that. I meant code of conduct.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So you have that already in place.
Yeah.
Okay. This here says conflict of interest. Maybe that's why I said it.
Oh, okay.
Let's see which one we can work on. That's relatively easy, but we can start thinking of with regards to your organization. Okay, we can work on recruitment and selection. Yeah. Because you want to start hiring staff, right? So let me get to my notes here. So we're going to work on recruitment and selection. Can you see this?
Yeah,
What I'm typing?
yeah.
Okay. So recruitment and selection. And so it says here, the association is committed to recruiting and selecting individuals who are the most qualified to perform the requirements of each position available. Candidates for job vacancies may be selected from existing employees or from outside applicants. Applications are encouraged from current employees, but will be screened in the same manner as applications received from outside applicants. Where qualifications, experience, and ability are deemed equivalent, preference will normally be given to internal candidates. So that's stating right away to let other employees know that if you want a promotion or there's another job within the organization that you want, all things being equal, the person already working for us will get the preference than somebody who's coming from the outside, which a lot of organizations do.
Yeah.
Applicants are invited to submit their application along with current resume, demonstrating that they meet the minimum qualifications for the position being sought. And at the closing date, all applications are screened and candidates selected for interview are contacted. If the interview is positive, references will be contacted. Depending on the feedback, a position may be offered to the applicant. Like, you see how detailed that they get? It's like literally step by step by step. So all recruitment for full-time employment requires a prior approval of a senior manager and the director of people development and employee wellness. All regular positions must be posted internally, either before or simultaneously with external advertisement. So job postings that have been posted within the last 45 days do not have to be reposted. Where the terms of the original posting remain the same. Contract or seasonal positions with a term of less than 3 months may be posted externally only. So they're not going to offer those positions to people inside because it's only 3 months and it's a contract. Internal and external job applicants, including applicants who have been invited to participate in a recruitment, assessment, or selection process, must be notified and that accommodations for disabilities are available upon request. So that's something that most organizations let you know that before, if you're coming in to do an interview, if you're coming in for stuff and you need any kind of accommodations because of a disability, whether you're blind, whether you're deaf, whether you're in a wheelchair, whatever, then those will be made ahead of time once you let us know. So the first thing they have here is employment of family members and relatives. Relatives of current employees may be employed only where they will not be working directly for or supervising a relative, or they will not be working directly for the relative's immediate subordinate. So what do you think about hiring employee and family members of employees? Let's look at that one first. How do you feel about that for your organization?
Well, for me,
Yeah.
I would think that they can be hired within the organization, but in different departments where their families are not.
Current employees can be hired only in different departments from their family members.
Yes.
Okay. There we go. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So there's no preferential treatment. Okay. Anything else we could think of? I think that's pretty straightforward, to be honest.
Yeah, that's straightforward. That's why I wanted to say, yeah, that's the only thing.
Okay.
Just to avoid conflict of interest, that's all.
Let's put that too. This will prevent any conflict of interest within the organization. Okay, beautiful. Sorry.
You remind me of Africa.
How?
Yeah, some of the things are not really in place. They get try to beat the system.
Oh
true. Yeah, our national bank, they were better than this and that. They changed their names. That's all you need to do. You just change your name. That's it.
And then you don't know we're family. And then I'm not going to come in and say I'm related to you.
Yeah, they carry that family there on a different name. I don't know.
Okay.
I think Janga work at a bank too. She my known family at a national bank. I knew about 6% were all family.
Yeah.
Yeah, they changed their name. They just go there. Like, but Janga, you were there when Leslie Haynes were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he carried a brother there for the Haynes. He need to for the Safa.
Yeah.
Pastor David Lane brother working there. They changed. Yeah, that Leslie Haynes brother.
Yeah.
I said yes, Mr. Siafa.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
Leslie
it
Haynes.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah, they changed their name. Yeah, they were only straight on husband and wife, but they didn't care about other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was little
That is so
Africa,
true.
man.
It's so true. Okay, let's look at employment applications. So it says here, the association relies upon the accuracy of information contained in the employment application, as well as the accuracy of other data presented throughout the hiring process and employment. So that's like your resume or any references that you gave.
Yeah.
Any misrepresentations, falsification, or material omissions in any of this information or data may result in association's exclusion of the individual from further consideration for employment, or if the person has been hired, termination of employment for just cause. What do you think about that? So somebody lies on their resume.
Yeah.
So, or employment applications. Okay, let's put that. Do you agree with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
nothing always happen. So
Yep, but you're just letting them know, okay, you might get
Yeah.
away with it, but if we find out, you're going to be fired.
yeah, in trouble.
Let's put it here.
So even honor stating that to some people, honor state that for fear that they might not get employed. They don't put all that qualification and things there.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's a part of it too.
Their qualifications?
Yeah, sometimes
Yes,
they look at somebody with a bachelor degree, you got a master degree, and you don't want to put everything there because maybe there'll be your boss, you can be higher than your boss in education, such to speak, you know.
No, I don't think it's, I think if you omit things because, because sometimes to get a job, you have to dumb down your resume, right? Because your boss doesn't want to know that you have more credentials than him. He won't hire you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think omission of information is okay, but actually saying you have a master's degree when you don't,
yeah,
that's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's more of a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Organizations. Exclusion from individuals. Okay. Yeah, that's a really good one, actually. They have here employment agreements. All successful candidates will receive a written employment agreement outlining the terms and conditions of employment, specific expectations and responsibilities, accountability, salary rates, and benefits signed by an authorized manager. No offers or commitments, financial or otherwise, are to be made to any job applicant until all appropriate approvals have been obtained, including 3 professional references. All offers of employment are conditional upon the receipt of a current satisfactory criminal reference check, including vulnerable sector where applicable, and that's primarily because they're dealing with children.
Yeah.
There shall be no verbal or informal job offers provided to the applicant. All applicants should be told that the association will be issuing a formal written offer, which should be carefully reviewed and considered. The successful candidate will be asked to sign 2 copies of the employment agreement and to indicate acceptance of the terms of employment. One will be held in the employee's personnel file and the other provided to the employee. So what do you think about employment agreements and what they said there?
That's good. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay.
You have to have employment agreement. Yeah. Makes sense.
So we'll take that portion of it and we'll add it here. What else? And you're going to make the candidate sign 2 copies of the employment agreement, one for their file and one that they can keep.
Yeah.
We do that as well. Okay. And this is just the beginning of, what we're doing. This is just to get you all started on creating these policies, because once you hire people, you want to have these in place. You don't want to create them after the fact.
Yeah.
Okay, terms and conditions of employment. This is important. Okay. So all offers of employment are conditional upon receipt of a current criminal reference check from the CPIC, Canadian Police Information Center, including vulnerable sector check at the expense of the applicant. So they have to pay for this themselves. Should the CPIC and or any other equivalent criminal reference check reveal any screening concerns or offenses which, in the view of the CEO, pose a risk to vulnerable persons, the offer of employment automatically becomes null and void. Issued within 4 months of the anticipated date of hire. So they have a little, so they're saying that the criminal reference check has to be within 4 months. Because some people, like I may get one last year, so I figured that should be good for me to do this year. Meanwhile, I may have committed a crime 6 months ago, but it won't be on this paper. So they want it as recent as possible.
Yeah.
Employees who work requires operation of a motor vehicle must present and maintain a valid driver's license and a driving record acceptable to our insurer, which makes sense because you want to have transportation in your organization, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the driver must maintain an impeccable driving record. Any changes in an employer's driving record must be reported to the Director of People Development and Employee Wellness immediately. Failure to do so may result in disciplinary action, including possible dismissal for just cause. Employees who operate company vehicles during their assigned work or operate their own vehicles in performing their jobs are financially and legally responsible for any traffic or parking violations, which is good to indicate that because they might get tickets and stuff and expect you to pay for it because they were working. So that's a good policy to have in place.
Yeah.
Employees driving their own vehicle for business purposes must maintain liability insurance at all times at their own expense in the amount of at least $2 million and are urged to advise their insurance carriers of such vehicle use. So we're basically saying you have to have insurance on your car and let your insurers know that you use this car for work.
Yeah.
Employees are required to obey all traffic laws when operating motor vehicles in the course of conducting business of the association. A medical examination may be required by the association if deemed necessary before or during employment because of the type of work. Provincial requirements may dictate the necessity of a medical examination for certain occupational positions, such as school-age care, daycare. Employees are responsible for any costs incurred in providing the association with such requested information. I'm not sure if that's necessary for your organization, but you may deem it necessary. While employed by the association, an employee will not solicit business in person, by telephone, internet, or other electronic media for personal gain from members or clients of the association whom an employee has contact with as a result of their employment. Breach of this provision is reason for dismissal with just cause. And that's a good one. I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
So you're giving them your, contact sheet of people that they should contact to help the organization, but they're taking your contact sheet and they're going home and trying to create their own side business that's going to compete with you.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah, it's not a problem.
As our association is a multi-site operation, relocation to one of our satellite facilities or programs may be a requirement of employment associated with this position and or subsequent positions within our organization. Yours is most likely going to be on one site, but like you said, if you're having a sporting event, that might be another site. Or if you're, picking up and dropping off at other locations, we're not sure, going to do events at other locations, they're still part of the organization. So that's something to think about. The association reserves the right to lay off or terminate the employment of an employee in order to reduce employee levels associated with any program or day camp due to insufficient enrollment or attendance, changes in legislation which may necessitate the withdrawal of the stated course, or other unforeseen circumstances. Other terms and conditions of employment specific to the position will be outlined in the employment agreement. That's a good one too, because you don't know what's going to happen. You may hire somebody to facilitate a program, but two people signed up for the program, but you have to pay this person for facilitation. For two people, then you could terminate that employment because you didn't get the adequate amount of membership that you wanted for that particular program. And I think that's good to put in writing, so they're not like, oh, but you hired me, so you have to pay me for this duration. So now that we went through terms and conditions of employment, what do you think about this part of it for your organization?
It's good.
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Does all of it make sense or most of it?
Mm,
I
Well,
would say all of it.
almost.
Okay. Which parts don't make sense? The medical examination?
medical, yeah, I think the medical examination is too.
I mean, listen, now they want you to give them your whole immunization record from childhood before you can even get employed. I never
Yeah.
thought that would be a thing, right?
I know,
Especially
even,
for
yeah,
all-
but
for
people doing
For
it now.
Africa, you don't have all the
It's-
records.
Yeah, people doing it, but it's not from childhood.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
with most recent shots.
Yeah. Mhm.
And also, what about our association is a multi-site operation? So should that part be in or out?
Be in. Because
Okay.
maybe we might not have one place.
Okay. All right. So I'll put everything else except the medical examination, because really, I think a lot of that medical stuff is completely invasive.
Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion. This is under terms and conditions of employment. Okay. Let's make it look nice and neat. And we want to put in, you're not supposed to solicit business from us anyways, or from our contacts. I agree with that. And we want to add, you reserve the right to terminate them if you don't have enough people for a specific program. Want to make sure all of that's in writing. And so you would have created a lot of your policies, right? You would have created a lot of your policies, but these things you may not have thought of. So that's why I like this guide too. It's really detailed and you can pick out what you want from what you don't really want based on a larger organization. And they already did the work, you know, it's vetted. You know, they had their lawyers look at this 152 times. So this is something that could work. All right. Now we're going to look at orientation. So all new employees to the association will receive an orientation session, which will encompass an overview of general policies, procedures, and operations. The orientation is in place to acquaint you to the YMCA, or it'll be your organization, and help you through the beginning of your career with us. There are several important objectives: to have a broad understanding of the mission, philosophy, and functions of the association, to learn job procedures, to establish relationships with coworkers, and to become aware of the YMCA protection of children and vulnerable persons policy and the duty to report procedures. To introduce the new employee to the organization's ways of work and priorities. To become familiar with the measure for creating a safe and healthy workplace, including the fair treatment policies inherent with how we work together to create a respectful and caring workplace free of workplace harassment, discrimination, and violence. Newly hired employees shall receive an appropriate orientation to the association and to their specific duties within their first week of employment. All employees are required to attend a full orientation to the association within their first 6 months of employment. So for orientation, and that's really onboarding new employees. What do you think of this part of the policies?
Yes. I'm in for that part of the policy.
It's
Yeah.
good.
I think it really is good too. I mean, of course, we'll change certain things to fit your organization, but I agree. So this one's orientation. And this is just to really get you all started. You're going to go as a board and you're going to go through this and work on what really works for you and what doesn't work for you as you're building. Okay. That. Okay. I will remove YMCA, obviously, because you're not YMCA. Okay. Brilliant. Oh, and this one gets into occupational and employment status. So that's something you guys could work on, especially pay classification and those kind of things as you figure out what employees you need and how you're going to work with them. So let's just look through and see if there are any other ones. We have about 10 minutes. We'll see if there's another quick one we can really work on. Oh, okay. I like employment. We'll stick to the employment theme here. What was the first one that we did? Recruitment and selection. So this one will be, employment and employment duties and those kind of things. That's pretty straightforward. So the first one is employment duties. Okay, so accompanying each employee's employment agreement is a description of the job or jobs and the associated responsibilities, along with any additional tasks possibly required. This document will be used to evaluate the performance both during the probationary period and after. If an employee is unsure of its contents, they should not hesitate to ask for clarification. Job descriptions are reviewed periodically for relevance. The association reserves the right to make reasonable changes to an employee's job duties and responsibilities in order to properly manage its business and adapt to changing market conditions. What do you think about this?
Yeah,
Uh,
we can use
Reasonable.
that too.
Yeah, I think so. I think it makes complete sense. And it lets them know that you have the right to make changes to their job. Because you ever hear some employees be like, well, that's not in my job description.
All the time, all the time.
You're like, oh, really? Well, if you look here under the employment, whatever, we have the right to change that. Okay, next is employee files and records. Awesome. Okay. So we look at employee files and records. So now the association collects personal information for inclusion in human resource personnel files. Access to these files is limited to authorized employees who require it to carry out their duties. In addition, because personnel files may include a variety of personal information, authorized employees only have access to specific categories of personal information contained in the employee file. The association will not disclose an employee's information to anyone other than government agencies and benefits providers without first securing employees' permission. So the Ontario Employment Standards Act outlines the employee information that organizations, including must securely store as part of their employee record keeping. This information includes employee's name and address, employee's date of birth, date of hire, hours worked. If the employee is salaried, then the company is only required to keep records of the hours worked in excess of the regular work week, or not at all if overtime provisions do not apply. Pay periods, gross and net salary or wages paid, including the manner in which they were calculated, deductions, amount and purpose, vacation pay or paid vacation taken, leaves of absence, all documentation and certificates, termination date, termination or severance pay. It is important and to everyone's benefit that we keep accurate employee files. Employees are responsible for helping to ensure their confidential file is up to date by submitting all changes in a timely fashion, either through Dayforce or by notifying the payroll coordinator or director. And Dayforce must be a program that they use there. People development and employee wellness. So the payroll coordinator or the director of people development and employee wellness. In particular, we should have your current address and telephone number, person to be notified in case of emergency. That's always a big one. Legal name, number of dependents for income tax exemptions and insurable benefits, beneficiary, for example, life insurance, retirement fund, education and or degrees, professional affiliations, known drug allergies or illnesses for emergency situations, and whether assistance will be required should the need for an emergency evacuation arise. Employees are permitted to examine their personnel file. Those who wish to do so may set up an appointment with our Human Resources Department. Documents obtained through an agreement of confidentiality, such as letters of reference, may be excluded from examination by employees. Documents may not be removed from the file by the employee for photocopying or for any other purpose without permission from our Human Resource Department. If you wish to correct any information recorded in your file, you should complete the appropriate form, which for them is an example, a TD1 for tax withholding, and forward it to the Human Resource Department. They will inform you of any action taken. It is imperative that you notify Human Resources of any life qualifying events within 30 days of the event. This includes marriage, divorce, birth, death, adoption of a foster child, etc. Failure to contact us in a timely manner may result in a loss of benefits. Outside organizations such as banks and finance companies may, upon your request and written authorization, receive appropriate information from your employee file, including your employment application, resume screening and interview results, your date of hire, wage, salary, and work history, personal information, birth date information for pay deductions, address, phone number, etc. Names of people to contact in case of an accident or illness while at work, awards, commendations, and disciplinary history, attendance records, benefit information, performance evaluations, work incident reports or warnings, letter of confidentiality, and other information deemed necessary. What do you think about this extremely long part?
Yeah,
It
I
got
think it's
some
true,
good
except
and some.
for that,
Yeah.
like where they're supposed to contact some TD
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Emergency person.
No,
No,
the
it's
if you want to change your file, TD1 for
Yeah.
tax withholding, if you want to correct
Yeah.
any tax withholding information in your file. So that part, leave it out, is what you're saying.
Yeah. That's what I think.
Mr. Bernard, what do you think?
Yeah, everybody want to protect that area. It's a very sensitive area, so yeah, I think we can omit that.
Okay, all right. So let's copy this part here. The first part was really, really good for sure. And I'll clean it up and make it look all pretty later because we're pretty much done here. Okay, and this part here, up to here. Okay, and then we're saying we're leaving out that part. And outside organizations such as banks and finance companies, we're keeping that one in if they ask for information upon your request. Like the employee has to obviously sign off, but okay. Okay. All right, I will fix all that up in your file and make it look nice and neat. But I mean, we got at least a recruitment and selection policy and an employment policy all pretty much ready to go for the organization. And I'm gonna add this link here to this document. I think you have access to this document. If not, I will share it with you. I know Raheem has it. I don't know if he shared it with you. That's where we got all the information from, so you can check it there and go through it, and use this to really work on your policies and your HR policies for the organization, because you want to make sure you have those in place for anything going forward as your organization grows. You don't want to wait till you grow to now put these in place, but you want to have these in place so when you grow, you already have your systems created and set up, and that's the best way to be. So this really concludes our workshop number 3. I hope it was informative as the others, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and we will look at, I guess, mid-May for our workshop number 4. I think I now have the schedule. It's every other weekend, so I'd probably pick that second weekend in May that everybody's going to be available for our workshop number 4 as we move forward.
Okay. Yeah. I did my is that how you call it? The test that we were supposed to
Personality test.
Yes.
Yes, I did. Yeah, so a protagonist. I'm protagonist.
It's like
Okay.
everybody have the same thing.
I believe it.
Yeah.
It's like every one of us got the same thing.
So everybody's
Yeah.
the same personality, so we got to mix it up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, waiting for and Vivian.
Yeah, let's wait for everybody,
Okay.
and then we could actually
Yeah.
analyze everybody's.
Maybe be antagonist. Say web's a protagonist.
Okay.
I know, right? That'll be interesting
Okay.
to see. I'm excited to see
Yeah.
the results of that.
I
But again, thank you so much
Okay.
for spending
Well,
your
thank you.
Saturday afternoon with me.
I want to ask one question.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the second one we didn't see it on the side. I don't know. The second workshop. One of the
You
first
didn't
proposal.
see. You didn't see
No.
what, the videos, or you didn't see the
Yeah,
slides?
the video, the slide on the LIBCAM project update was one of the first ones so far.
Oh, well, I gave them all to Raheem, and he will give them to the web guy. So the web person who's working with the website is supposed to put them up, but all of them are in the folder.
Okay, I will okay then.
Just
Okay.
like I'm about to put this one in the folder too, so he has access to everything. So you could talk to him about that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
Chantal.
you.
My pleasure. Everybody enjoy the
Okay.
rest of your week, your Easter
You
weekend,
too.
and have a great holiday.
Again.
Yeah, you too.
Okay,
Thank
you
you.
too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.